welcome in to Wellness Wednesday on the Lotus Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Uma Alexandra Beepat, and tonight we're diving into a topic that touches so many women: rediscovering yourself after life has stretched you, shaped you, and sometimes worn you down. Women are masters of adapting. We shift, we bend, we step into roles. We show up for everyone until one day we look in the mirror and wonder where we went. Tonight's episode is all about reclaiming your power, your confidence, and your self-expression. It's about finding your way back home to yourself and honoring the parts of you that deserve to be seen. My guest tonight is someone who embodies strength, heart, and resilience. Jenny Handy is a motivational speaker, a certified high-performance coach, and the creator of the YouTube channel Unconventional Coach. Jenny helps people rebuild confidence after hardship, uncovering the beliefs, stories, and experiences that dim their light and guiding them towards renewed possibility and self-belief. Her talk at the Shape Her Summit, The Power of You, is already inspiring countless women to step into their truth. And tonight, she's here to share that message with us. Jenny, welcome to Wellness Wednesday.
Thank you, Uma. It's so nice to be here. That was a fantastic intro. And it was so great meeting you, and I cannot wait for this upcoming summit.
I know. So again, guys, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me, but I met Jenny, like I met Greta, like I met Laurie at the Fearless Women Summit in Washington, D.C. We were all speakers there. And, there was just, everybody was great, but there was just some speakers that I was absolutely moved by. And Jenny was one of them. So I'm excited to dig into this topic of yours, the power of you reclaiming confidence through self-expression. What led you to come up with that topic, might I ask?
That's actually a very interesting question. So I came up with this topic thinking about how I personally had shifted over time, being a mother, being a wife, working in a male-dominated office building. And I realized after time that I had changed who I am. And I was no longer finding, joy in myself or things I wanted to do. So once I started looking at that and looking at my friends around me and other women that I knew, I noticed that it was a trend that we all shift and change our identities through different periods of our life. Not necessarily in a bad way, but we eventually lose track of our own interests and our own needs. And I thought it was so important to highlight to women and let them know that they're not alone and that there are other women out there who go through the same thing.
Absolutely. You speak so beautifully about the roles women take on. And I don't think a lot of people, especially men, we love them, but especially men, they really think about it. The shifting, the adapting, the constant evolving. Where do you see women begin to lose themselves in that cycle? And how does that loss of self show up in their confidence?
So it can be different for every woman because obviously not every woman is going to become a mother. But for the women who do, once you have those children, you naturally shift to do what you need to for them, to raise them, nurture them. And you're there 24/7. And if you have a spouse or a significant other with you, then you're kind of helping to run the household and shifting into roles they need. So over time, everything you do is for them, not for you. And if you're, for example, a leader in an office building, there's a kind of an understood role, kind of unfortunately, that women shouldn't be leaders in some circumstances. So you change your personality. You change how you interact with other people to kind of fit into that role. And over time, I think that it really causes you to lose your confidence because you're no longer sure who you are as a person. You've shifted so much for your family or for these leadership roles that you just aren't sure anymore and you kind of get unsteady. So finding your way back can be a bit challenging and there can be a lot you have to
And you know what's funny is on a personal note, I find like for myself, the idea of roles has plagued me my whole life, right? From
Mm-hmm.
being the dutiful daughter to being the loyal girlfriend to being the always there mom to being
Yeah.
the supportive partner. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm entering that weird perimenopause, menopause stage where my
Mm-hmm.
body is just fighting back and my body's like, I want to sleep at 2 in the afternoon and I want to be up until 3 in the morning. Right?
I know. That's so true.
And it affects our roles because when everybody's asking you to show up so much,
Mm-hmm.
it's like how do we maintain these roles? I'll tell you a funny little story is that I recently told my partner, and my son is home from college. One of them is home from college. And I told my partner and my son that, I'm having insomnia right now. Not forever. I've never
Mm-hmm.
had insomnia, but this part of my perimenopause journey, I'm having insomnia. I'm up till 3, 4, sometimes 5 in the morning. I said,
Yeah.
so I'm going to work. I'm a streamer, so I'm going to work and I'll
Mm-hmm.
just be up. And it makes me sad because, the house is sleeping and everybody's sleeping and I'll be up by myself. And they started staying up with me. So
Uh-huh.
now it's like I expressed myself and it warmed my heart that they were able to they changed their schedules to be on my schedule. And I just thought about the idea of you talking about the power of self expression because your message centers
Yeah.
a lot on reclaiming confidence through self expression. So I know
Mm-hmm.
why it was important for me, but for you, to the audience, the viewers, the listeners, why is expressing ourselves, our voice, our story, our truth so essential for rebuilding our confidence?
It's important because we are unique individuals. We are a gift to the world. Out of the millions and millions of people, we exist, and that in itself is a miracle. And we should be proud of that and proud of who we are. And to have the courage, like you just mentioned, to have the courage to express to your family that you were going to stay up late because you needed to do this because of your perimenopause or whatever reason, and you had the courage to say that, which might not have felt like courage at the time, but it actually was. Many people will not say their needs to their family or friends. And so having that courage is one step towards the confidence. And then we also have to look at what are our interests and our joys, what makes us happy during the day that is outside of our family and friends. And that is that unique, special thing that you can put out to the world that is just yours, which a lot of people think is selfish. And it's not. It is you being you and giving that gift back to the world, because that's how you bring your happiness and your joy to everybody around you.
So many people struggle with that sense of self-worth because you're right. Everybody feels it's selfish for me to ask for my needs, for me to say what I want, and for me to ask people to make allowances on my behalf, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a really good point you brought up. And you've coached so many people through rebuilding after these difficult seasons. What
Mm-hmm.
is usually the first step in helping someone reconnect to the version of themselves they miss or feel disconnected from?
The interesting thing about that question is that when we look at the hardships and things that life throws at us, right? It's like an umbrella. There's kind of 5 different categories, if you will. You look at failure if something has happened, and these are umbrella terms. It can be something different for everybody. Or you look at grief, or if you're mistreated, or if you're lacking support from your significant other or your friends or family, or if you feel like you're missing your purpose, right? So any number of these can happen to you, or all of them can happen to you in your life. And when you're trying to bring yourself back from whatever occurrence has happened, you need to first look to yourself and decide, what is my favorite thing about myself? Not how I treat other people, or do my kids like me? Do my friends like me? How much money do I make? No. What about you do you value the most? Do you find the most special and are you proud of? And if you can find that one thing that you are proud of for yourself and you focus on that, that is the first step towards building back to that confidence that you want to have. Because too often we just ignore what we value in us and we look to other people, how they value us. But we have to go inside.
I have to give her spirit fingers for that, guys, because I I did this, and like I'm sure when you talk about things, you know it for yourself, you know the truth of it, but
Mm-hmm.
you're sharing it with people who don't know the truth of it. And I have to second what she said, because I've always loved my quirkiness. I
Yes, me
am
too.
I right. I'm a quirky individual. I am strange. I'm weird. I don't think like people do. Um, and I remember one time my partner is also a streamer. And while he was on stream, someone asked him, "What's the biggest thing you love about Uma?" And he said, "She's just weird." And I was
I
like,
love it.
yeah, I was like, that's so cool that he correctly identified, what I love about myself. So I think that's a really great thing, that for people to
Mm-hmm.
reconnect to the version of themselves they miss or feel disconnected from is to just love a certain aspect of themselves.
That's true. And I personally, I wasn't even willing to do that until probably the last 5 years, right? Like I'm 50 now, and it took me till I was 45 to be like, I'm okay being me. I kind of like myself. So
Yeah.
I think, we just wait too long to love who we are as people.
And what's funny about that is I say to people all the time, it wasn't until I hit my 40s that I found my strength to
Mm-hmm.
just, this is who I am, take it or leave it. And as a streamer, I tend to get a lot of younger females in my streams, 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, and I see them struggling with their sense of
It's big.
self-worth. Yeah, so much.
Mhm.
And my heart is really going to them, because I always say to myself, I wish I had a Uma in my life when I was growing up, right? Like the
Yeah.
closest would be my Auntie Paula, and she lived her life fearlessly. She didn't care what nobody thought. She
Mm-hmm.
wore eccentric outfits, and she was eccentric, and I loved it about her. And she really
Yeah.
in her way taught me to be that kind of person. Do you feel like, as this is just an off question, but as women
Sure.
in our 40s, we should spend more time invested in the younger generations?
I really do, because if I had somebody like me or you when I was in my 20s or 30s, I may have made some of the mistakes that I did, but I think my confidence would have been where I am now. I wouldn't have been questioning myself and comparing myself to so many other people and
Yeah.
thinking that I had to look a certain way. I had to do a certain thing. I had to have a certain job. And I think a lot of the young people today really struggle with that. Like, I have a daughter who's 25, and I watch her and I'm like, I really want to, let her know that she's perfect the way she is. And
Right.
thankfully, she's like, Mom, I love who I am. And I'm like, well, good. I'm so glad you do.
Yeah.
Because people her age just don't think of it like that. You can see them, like, even online, right? They doom scroll. They're watching these influencers and stuff, like looking at these things that they think are perfect bodies and perfect lives and perfect everything. And they're losing their sense of who they are in that exact moment. And they don't know what's happening. And that's kind of like what I talk to about people. It starts when we're so young. Like even in childhood age, we start to change who we are to be that perfect daughter, to be the perfect sister, to be the perfect, friend to our kids in school. And once you start that when you're younger and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going through your 20s, through your 30s, by the time you get to your 40s, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
And you're like, I am just done trying to fit in with what everybody thinks I should be. I want to be me now. And so that's where you have to start doing your own self expression, finding who you are and putting yourself out there.
And guys, it's still difficult for women in their 40s, their 50s,
Mhm.
because I recently, like just this week, I had a professional photo shoot, and it was a struggle for me because I haven't seen myself on camera in a couple of years, since before the
Mhm.
pandemic. I used to take photo shoots all the time, and I had to do it. I didn't want to do it. I had to do it because for my website redesign. And I went there, and the photographer was super nice, and he took the first photo. And Jenny, when I saw myself on his camera,
Mm-hmm.
I cried at the photo shoot, ruining the makeup, ruining the hair. I cried. I was like, I can't look like this. I don't look like this. And then I said, I take selfies of myself and I don't look like this. And then he was so nice, but he was like, your selfies have like a built-in filter, which I didn't even know.
Yes, they do.
And I'm like, oh my God. And then so I'm looking at my partner and I'm like, is this what I look like in real life? Is this what I was having like such a heart attack? Like, am I this horrible? So we had to have like a calm down session. And then he finally took the photos and he delivered them to me. And I'm beautiful. Like I looked wonderful in the photos. Now here's the funny part. I posted them and a lady reached out to me and she said, photos are great and everything. Did you at one point reach out to me about weight loss and you wanted to do weight management? And I was like, all of me wanted to become that 13-year-old girl that was insecure and not confident and all the stories, right? But I found my voice and I said to her, I said, thanks for reaching out. No, it wasn't me. Even though I struggle with what the changes my body is going through, I'm learning to love her as she is. But thank you for reaching out. And it just made me think about so many women, right? Even though we're older, we carry these old stories. I'm not enough. I don't deserve this. Who am I to want more or see myself as more? And I have a question. What are some of the most common confidence blocks you see in your line of work, and how can women start moving past them?
Oh, there's so many, Uma.
Yeah.
It's really quite sad. Some of the biggest ones, though, are I'm not smart enough to be the boss. I'm not likable enough to have friends in the office, to build that relationship with people so that I can move to that next level. I'm not successful enough. These other people are far more successful, even though they're in the same job. And some of the worst ones have to do with our looks, because even though we try so hard to accept who we are, it's inevitable that we're going to compare ourselves to the younger women who come into the office or the people we see on TV. And it's really quite sad, because we should always be proud of who we are and not look to compare ourselves to other people. They're out there, you can appreciate them, but appreciate you, right? Appreciate what you have to offer. You are smart enough, you are good enough, you can do that job, you can make those friends, you can be successful. You don't need to have what that other person has, because you have your unique self. You cannot do that job any other way than how you would do it. So quit trying to be like those other people and show up as you. And that's what I have to tell the people that I talk to the most, because they want to show up as the Oprah, or they want to show up as the Mel Robbins. Well, you're not them, and you never will be them. So show up as the best Jenny, or the best Uma, or the best whoever that you can be. And that is where your value is. And that is where you have your gifts that you can give to the world.
You just named two women that I highly adore, that I kind of, it's so awesome, because those are like literally on my vision board is Oprah Winfrey and Mel Robbins. I want to affect as many people as Oprah, and I want to have a successful podcast like Mel Robbins, but I also want to do it my way. So I really love that you say that. Like we all have our own energy. Yeah,
we do. You're right. And that's actually funny, if I can just add an extra thing. That's why I named my YouTube channel The Unconventional Coach.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I'm weird. I'm quirky. And I don't have to be like the Mel Robbins to have my YouTube channel. I can just be me and put myself out there as I am. You know, there's people out there who are just as weird as me who'd be like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I would listen to that, you know? So that's exactly where that name came from.
And I love that, because I am streaming live on a streaming app, and Chad said, I love Mel Robbins. I'm getting her new book. I think it's the book, Let Them, because I heard her mention it several times too. And I'm like, oh, I gotta check that out. Yep.
Yeah, I just bought that book. It looks amazing.
I know it's going to be so good. She's phenomenal.
She
All
really
right.
is.
Jenny, talk to me a little bit about being a high performance coach. Before I ask you some questions about your work, what is a high performance coach?
A high performance coach, in my instances, I have a 3 month outcome based curriculum, and each week focuses on a different topic. And those are meant to dive deep into any kind of obstacles, things are getting you stuck. There's worksheets that we go through. It's really intense, really hard work. It's not like the normal life coaching that you'd see or executive coaching. It goes those extra levels and pushes you hard. So it can be really uncomfortable at times when you have to acknowledge where your downfalls are or where you're perhaps causing the problem in your own success. And so we work together to kind of iron those out, find where you can make little tweaks, little adjustments, and then move yourself to the next level of success. So it's a lot of fun, but really hard work.
I love it because I feel when people hear us say we're life coaches, it's like immediately they turn off because there's such a, it's like life coaching today has such a negative stigma, like psychics, everybody's like, call me now, Miss Cleo, when I say, oh, I'm a psychic,
I know.
right? And
I'm
then
Miss Cleo.
Right. And then when I became a certified life coach, I changed my name. Like, you're a high performance coach. I'm a soul alignment coach because I bring everything back to your soul purpose. Like, what were you born to do? So I like that you branched out with the name high performance coach because I feel like there's so many coaches available and we all have our specific niche. And the people that are looking for what they're looking for need to find the right coaches. So
exactly.
As a high performance coach, what are some small practical shifts, whether it's habits or mindset changes, that any of our viewers and listeners can start today to begin stepping into their power?
So there's a couple that I think are often overlooked, but some of the most important. The first one is your energy. And when I say energy, I mean getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, and your actual wellness. So like taking care of your personal soul, if you will, like reading or meditating or something like that. Because if we don't have our energy aligned in all three of those spots, that's when we react emotionally to things. That's when we can cause arguments with people who are around us because we're just not in alignment. We want to be in alignment. So looking at your sleep, your fitness, and your, let's call it mental energy, is the first one. The second one that nobody thinks about is your physiology. And what do I mean by that? Physiology is first your posture. So if you want to become more confident, you need to have that posture, right? So you want to sit up, stand up, come into a room with actual confidence. The other part of your physiology is your facial expressions. We don't ever think about that, right? We just go through day with like a sad face or whatever, but that face that you have, that's what's going out into the world. So you want to have whatever expressions promote confidence for you or engagement, where you look like you're engaged with a person's conversation that you're having, or that you care about what they're saying to you. And then your gestures. If you're sitting with your hands in your pockets, you're going to look like you're really not interested, not having a good time, not confident, right? And then I would say the other one would be your voice. We don't think about our voice at all. I know I never did before I started doing this work. I was just like, ma, 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 ma. But when you're talking monotonous, nobody's listening to you, right?
Right.
So you want to kind of pay attention to those four aspects of your physiology. So you have your physiology and your energy. Super easy as first steps, right? You just have to pay attention to them. And then a third one that I would offer up would be courage. And it doesn't seem like that would be easy, but it actually is. You want to have courage to have those conversations about boundaries, because boundaries are so important in our daily life. And so if we have a hard conversation with our family or with our coworkers or with your supervisor, it's something simple that you can do really quick. And that gives you that mental space where you can then focus more on what you need to get done so you don't feel overwhelmed, stressed, lost in the frenzy of the day. So those are the 3 that I would recommend starting with.
Those are 3 really powerful things to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna wrap this up soon, but before we do, I want to ask you, for our listening viewers and our listeners, what is one message you wish every woman could hear about confidence and self-worth?
Oh, it's so important. There's so many things. I just want to hug every woman that I meet. But the thing I want them most to understand is that no matter what is going on around you, no matter what anybody is telling you, no matter what you are thinking inside of your head, you are good enough, you are smart enough, and you can do whatever you are trying to do. You just have to focus on yourself and take those tiny steps. Everybody can do it. Everybody can be successful. We just get lost in the noise. So focus back in on yourself and you will get there. You can do it. You don't need anybody else.
Wow. Jenny, this was such an inspiring and heartfelt conversation. You reminded us that confidence isn't something we find out there, it's something we rebuild from within. And no matter what life has taken us through, the power of who we are is still inside of us, waiting to be reclaimed. So I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom, your story, and your passion with us tonight. And before we close, can you please share where our viewers can find you, follow you, or learn more about your coaching and your YouTube channel?
Yes. So I am on Instagram and LinkedIn. They can find me at Jenny Handy Mastery Unlocked. My YouTube channel is Unconventional Coach. Easy to find. I'm the only one on there. And then my website I sent to you, I believe it'll be in the video description, so they can reach me through there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have all your links included in this YouTube and the podcast description. So for anyone listening, all you have to do is just check the event description and you'll be able to find Jenny there. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much again, Jenny. I really appreciate you for joining us. And thank you to everyone who tuned in live or is watching the replay. As you move through the rest of your week, remember this: you don't need permission to shine. You don't need to shrink to make others comfortable. And you absolutely deserve to show up as the fullest expression of who you are. You can find all Wellness Wednesday replays on my YouTube channel. And if you'd like deeper support on your spiritual journey, please feel free to call me and book a 30-minute free clarity call. Let's see how we can work together. May peace, love, and light guide your path, and may you rediscover the power of you. Namaste, guys.